It's Friday morning, it's about 8:30. I've taken my mother out of the fridge and what I'm doing now is putting in 3 heaped spoonfuls of bread flour into what was left of my mother from last week. Add enough water to make a thick paste. You don't want a watery one. If it is too watery, you put in too much water, just add a bit more flour, it won't matter. Give it a good stir with the back of a spoon, that way it's easier to clean. Push the flour down from the sides of the jar and put the lid on it and leave it for tomorrow. And it's now going to be Saturday morning, about 9:30 I think it is, and as you can see the mother is well bubbled up. In the mixer add 250 grams of water and the mother which you made on Friday, leaving sufficient in the bottom for your next week's bread. "500 grams of bread flour and 15 grams of salt. You can of course add more salt if you want. Now this is the actual time it takes to mix. It's coming together nicely. I'll just have to stop the thing from moving about by putting my other hand on. There you go. And within that amount of seconds, what's that, about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, it's done. Clean off the paddle. I've got a board, a plastic sheet that I put everything on because it keeps the wooden surface clean. Get rid of the machine and just give it a quick pull together. Oil your bowl and then put your bread in, squish it about a bit and cover with a shower cap, and then you're ready to continue. This is what's left in the jar after I've cleaned it down a bit. It goes back in the fridge and stays there for the rest of the week until next Friday. About 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock, you give it a good stretch and fold. Look at it, it's really flexible. That's about 2 to 3 hours after the mixing. So you do 4 in total. That's 2 stretch and folds and 2 laminates, and you'll see what I mean by laminating the dough. Right, this is where we laminate it. This is now about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's nice and flexible. So basically stretch it out until you get a nice, reasonably flat sheet of dough. Once it's laid out, then you need to fold it. I do it in 3. So fold over, seal the edges, trapping a lot of air in underneath, and fold it over again. Once it's well and truly folded over, give it a bit of a stretch and a pull, fold in, wrap, push, wrap and push, wrap and push. A bit of a stretch and do the ends. There you go. Back into the bowl. And the next time I come to it, it's now 5 o'clock in the evening, Saturday evening still, and we're going to do the last stretch and fold, stretch and fold. Ooh, it's getting tough, but that's alright, that's the way it's supposed to be. Put it away and leave it until the evening, and we do the final lamination. You'll find it's a bit stiff to spread out, but do the best you can. I've already floured my basket and put in a linen cloth. I've put in a linen cloth into my basket and floured it. I use a cornmeal type flour for doing my for my basket. Right, fold it over. There we go. And now this is the final shape, which is a stretch, bring together, and then roll and push, roll and push. Seal up your edges, make sure it's a reasonable shape that's going to fit in the basket. There you go. Put some more flour on top. And then cover it with the shower cap. And that's it. That's all done now until Sunday morning. The reason I do it the way I do it is because on Sundays we get half price electricity between 11 and 4 in the afternoon. So the oven is preheated for 10 minutes. Boiling water goes into the bottom tray, and the hot tray that the bread's going to go was also in there getting hot. As you saw earlier, the bread dough is nicely risen. Pour it out and then spray it with water. Give it a good coating of water, and then with your blade cut a nice score or decorative marks, whatever you want to do with it really. I just put in a nice big cut down the side. Then it goes into the preheated oven a highish shelf. The reason for the thermometer is just to check the temperature of the oven, because my oven, although it's set to 220, only goes up to about 180. Right, so that's 15 minutes at 180. Steaming up my glasses. Right, turn it around. Once I've fiddled with the... Whoop, there you go. Turn it around, put it back in. So the first lot was for 15 minutes. This lot is now, this cooking time is now 25 minutes, but I've turned the oven down to what it says 180, but in reality that's about 160 on the thermometer. After 25 minutes, she comes out looking beautiful, onto a rack. Try not to burn yourself on the thermometer. And let it cool for an hour. Unless you can't wait, of course, but I tend to let mine cool for an hour. And give it a nice slice so you can see how well you've done, and of course that's the chef's bit. He gets the end piece with a lot of butter on it because it's still warm.